Hi, Bravehearts! Welcome to the Self Love Club podcast. This is your host, Chennie Montero. I caught up with one of my friends and she suggested that I share about this in detail. And I remember I told her I'm not really comfortable sharing this story because I don't want people to identify me because of my pain. But she said that it's not about what people think of me, but it's more of reshifting or shifting the focus on how my story can help other people. Somehow gave me another perspective. This was a really long time ago. And if you have been a witness and if you've known me already for a really long time, and yeah, if you've witnessed how very open and public our relationship was, you would already know what happened. But if you are new here, here's what happened. 5 years ago, my heart was broken. It was a very traumatic experience, I would say, because it took me years to rebuild myself. I can still feel the wound. It would still resurface from time to time, especially when I open my heart again, when I open myself up again to people, to dating. It's really hard. Would I say that I am healed? I would say I am healed, but not to the point that it doesn't trigger me. The wound doesn't resurface. It does. That's how healing is. It resurfaces. The wound resurfaces. We get triggered. There are few emotions that we feel in certain moments that are really familiar to the old experience. But the difference is you are bigger than the pain that you felt. You are bigger than the trauma you had. You are bigger than what you experienced. It's all about shifting the focus from this was your pain, this is your trauma, this was what happened to you, to who am I becoming after that experience? Who is she now after that heartbreak, after that process that she had to go through in order for her to be where she is now and to be who she is now. I try to really focus on the latter. When I focused a lot on the former, I was very much operating from a place of hate, resentment towards not just to that person who broke my heart, but also to myself. It was hard for me to forgive myself during that process, during that stage of healing. It's true what they say. Healing really is a process, and there shouldn't be a deadline. Each person has different healing timelines, and do not feel pressured to heal right away because each person has different capacity, different, like I said, different timelines. What matters is how you face it day by day, step by step, because when you're rushing it, it just won't do you good. You'll just end up going through circles or cycles rather because you're trying to avoid it. And rushing it means you're not taking the time to sit with it, to sit with your emotions, to sit with grief. Grief is necessary. Grieving is necessary because when you grieve, you will come into this state where you accept what happened, you acknowledge it, and that can go both ways. You accept what happened, you take the person as they are, you take the situation as it is, and on your side, you have the humility, courage to accept that, yeah, I was toxic then as well. A mirror effect. I was becoming the person that I was because they were like this. So it's just a domino effect. I was partly to blame for it as well, and that takes a lot of courage and humility. At that very moment when that happened, you don't really have that awareness in you yet, or maybe acceptance in you yet, to really see from that perspective. Your emotions are very much heightened because of the pain that you felt. Wow, I went straight to the wisdom. I didn't share the detail yet. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So, I was in a 5-year relationship. To give you guys a context, it was a type of relationship where everything was revolved around each other. I would say for me, for the most part, I really, really gave 100% to that relationship, to that person. My aspirations, my dreams, my hopes, my future, everything revolved around that person. It's embarrassing. If you already knew me back then, way back, and you were a witness of this relationship I had, there was no day, no week that we won't see each other. And just everywhere I go, he goes, everything really revolved around us as a couple. And we didn't really have that individuality in the relationship. We didn't really have individual lives apart from our relationship. That was already in itself toxic. And I didn't really realize that back then. I thought, hey, this was how I operated as a child. I operated from what I only knew back then about love. He was my first boyfriend. I was the type of girl who was very, very obedient to her parents. I was a good girl. I did not have a boyfriend until I finished school, going back. So I operated very much in the knowledge that I only got from the household, from the family growing up, which was, love. I thought was validation, company. It's not. So I imagine operating from that space. It was hard for me to depend on myself because I thought love was depending on those I love. I thought love is basically reciprocating the same thing. I also realized that in that relationship, I was very controlling because I'm putting myself on the spot here. I used to attract guys that needed fixing. I don't know, for some reason, I get drawn to guys that need fixing. That was before. I wanted the feeling of fixing people. Never really thought that I needed to fix myself also. Ooh, that was something else. I was mothering the person and, leading him, trying to mold him to the direction that I thought he needs, and molding him to a person and identity that I thought he needs or wants. But it was more of what I want. It's not good. In that 5 years of that relationship, I basically try to invent him to a person that he isn't. Maybe during the engagement period, we'll get there. He probably realized that, this is not me. I am not ready. Let's call it quits. Maybe that's the reason. But I really don't know fully. But that is what I've realized. In that 5 years of relationship, I will count, of course, I am grateful, of course, of the good times. 5 years wasted, would I say? Maybe it could be lower. Maybe if I did not ignore the red flags sooner, it wouldn't be extended to 5 years. But it is what it is. It already happened. I have no control of the past. Still, I'm grateful that the breakup happened, the heartbreak happened. I'm also partly to blame for I'm putting myself on the spot. I think I'm really putting a lot of pressure on him, but he was really asked a couple of times if this is what you really want to happen. Were you not pressured at all before you popped the question? He did meet up with my family, my parents, all that stuff, the pamanhikan, Filipino tradition that we do before getting married. And he said he was sure. So he popped the question. I said yes. And then 2 months after, there was a week that he was just really cold and indifferent. So he asked for space, so we had a cool off for a week. And my sister saw him with another girl during that period, during that week, but my sister didn't say anything. I was already heartbroken, to be honest. That cool off period, it was a lot for me to take in, having that 5-year relationship and then you suddenly go on cool off, considering that dynamics of that relationship, when I said it's just really a lot of company depending on each other. So that cool off for a week was really hard for me to take. I was already grieving. I was crying, wasn't eating properly that week. I wasn't really myself that week. I was so depressed. So you could understand also that my sister couldn't say anything during that week, but she did saw him with another girl. And a week after, he broke up with me to tell me that he needs growth alone. My parents were witnesses of that breakup. Oh my gosh. The universe has a funny way of putting things very timely, because when he broke up with me, he went to my office. And mind you, I was this on the verge of I was on my career peak at that moment. I got promoted. I got offered to go to travel to Australia. I was at the peak in other aspects, just not with love life back then. So he went to the office to break up with me, and I wasn't expecting that. I was really praying, praying for my dear life, for my dearest heart, to not break us apart. Lord, don't do this. I was so desperate, and I didn't really know back then that it was good for me. It was necessary to happen. It was bound to happen. But I prayed for the opposite. My parents were on the way and they were just near the area. So I told them, you know what? They have the right to know because he already did the pamanhikan out of respect. And I really thought that if my parents were there, honestly, I really thought he was going to change his mind, but no. My dad said, if you want growth alone, you can still be together. You don't have to separate from each other. He wants growth alone. He wants to separate ways. He wants to break up. He was strong with his decision. And I was out there crying my eyes out, bawling my eyes out. And oh my God, I begged. I begged and cried in public. People were looking at me. I held his arm and I said, no, don't let go. I was crying my heart out. My mom said, it's done. Let him go. Went to the car. I was still crying. And that pain is, damn. Sorry, I got emotional. Whew. Here's the thing, emotional pain is a lot painful than physical pain. I am teary-eyed not because I feel the pain, I still feel that pain that I felt, but I cried because I remember the Chennie who went through all that, and just remembering where I am now. Got so wild inside the car. My mom was trying to calm me down. I have a heart condition. Mom and dad were so worried. From the office, we parked right in front of the emergency room of a hospital nearby, just to make sure that if something happens to me, they're just near the hospital. I was crying. I was punching things and shouting, it hurts, it hurts. It was the first time that I saw my dad cry. He leaned his arms on the steering wheel crying while I was really wild at the back. Then my sister knew and she called me and she said, because my sister went through so much pain as well. She went through double the pain that I felt. She was a huge inspiration of the whole healing process. She called up and she said, Chen, I know it hurts right now, but you will get through this. You have us. Your ate made it. Ate is a big sister in Filipino. Your ate made it. You can make it as well. Your ate is strong and so are you. Yeah, during The next few weeks, I was just really in that depressive state in which everything I eat, I just couldn't swallow. My mom said a couple of times that I cry in the middle of my sleep and still murmur the words, it hurts, it's painful, it's painful. I'm just really grateful that my family was there to support me along that journey because damn, it was really intense. I'm not really verbal about my faith, but faith was also a huge support. I just kept praying for guidance, for more strength to be able to endure the whole process because I know it's a process. It's really a process, and I have to go through it step by step and really face each stage and not skip it and not run away from it. It's really important to have the right support system. You really can't do it alone. That's the reality. You can't really do it alone when you are in the first few stages of the process. It's important that you are surrounded with people, with the right people who will let you be in your timeline of your healing process, not really force you to heal right then and there, to impose what is healing and how you should heal, because I've had remarks back then from a previous friend who told me that, you know what, you can't heal right away because you're too soft, or your family is like making you a baby or treating you like a baby or princess whatsoever. So yeah, it's important that you are surrounded with a support system that respects your own healing journey, validates your experiences, your feelings, but also leads you to a path wherein you're also accountable for it and responsible for it, but not really leaving you behind on each step of the way. And I'm really grateful that I have that system, that support system, my family and my friends. And of course, my faith in God. Those three, without those, I cannot imagine how I would face those stages, those early stages of the healing period. I can't name everyone, but you know who you are. This is also another thing, sidetrack. I had to rebuild myself. There were times wherein I thought, oh, I'm okay now. Ah, I've moved on. I'm good. But then it hits you like, whoa, what is this? You're triggered about something and it hit you like, wait a second, I thought I've moved on. What is this? And then you cry again, you sulk again, you go through this breakdown again upon realizing, oh, excuse me. I haven't moved on yet. And one of those moments, awakening moments, when I already traveled to Australia, and in one of the conversations I've had with my previous boss, he asked, Chennie, what's your dream? I felt like I was slapped in the face. Like I had that slap of reality. Damn! That's when I realized, oh shoot, I did give 100%. And I unknowingly gave 100% and operated, I realized I operated from that space, where love for me was giving 100%, sacrifice, company, making the relationship your whole world, making the person your whole world. I didn't realize that until that moment when I was asked that, because everything flashed back and I was at a better state, but not really fully better, if you know what I mean. Not fully healed at that state when he asked me what my dream was. I couldn't say anything. I told my boss, you know what, to be honest, I can't think of anything at the moment. I was a little embarrassed. That was what happened internally. Like, there was like this, I can't really quite get the right analogy. But I had those realizations. That's when I knew I had to do something about it. That's when I knew that I have to move on. I need to rebuild myself. I need to find myself again, because that's when I realized I am lost From that moment on, I embarked on a journey to self discovery and self love, further self love. That's when I also realized, and what I share in my platforms and in my talks, that you will not know who you are, your identity, if you do not start on exploring, experimenting, self discovery, because it's only through those experiences and self discoveries that you truly get to know yourself more. And eventually, you'll have that moment of eureka, realize that, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what fulfills me. Therefore, you find your why. And it's such a really nice feeling to live life with a purpose. I am very much driven by purpose. That's what I realized also in my journey to self discovery. I feel fulfilled when I do things with the intention of love and purpose. That is why I am very intentional with everything, including relationships, friendships, energy that I put out, energy that I share with, everything that I share. I'm very intentional about it. Not just because I'm an introvert, okay, that's just not the reason, but really I'm just very intentional about it. Before I had to go through the journey of self discovery, I had to heal parts of me that are trying to control me to step forward, and that is the heartbreak. But I also had to do a balance of everything. So it's not just focusing on moving on from that pain, but also trying to embark on the self discovery journey. But the focus was more on moving on from the pain. So part of that was me bravely, courageously facing all my triggers at the maximum. I would often visit the place where he proposed, and I'm just really taking mental notes, tracking my progress, how I'm feeling every time I face my triggers. At first, of course, I would cry. I would still feel pain. I would still feel anger when I visit that place. But then eventually, when I kept visiting, I had that moment where I just smiled, and I caught myself smiling. I was like, oh, what was that? Why did I smile? And then and just really feeling what I felt, and understanding why why I was smiling. I was finally smiling, not crying. Yes, I felt a little bit of that pinch in my chest. I still felt that a little bit, but it was more of relief and openness. And that's when I realized I feel that I'm ready to forgive. I'm feeling that I'm already starting to accept. I feel that I am in the stage of acceptance already. And then after that, I saw him from a distance. I still felt that pinch in my chest. I was riding a jeepney. The jeepney passed through that cafe where he used to go, and it was very timely. He went out of that cafe. I saw him. I didn't feel angry anymore. Another encounter was still from a distance. This time, he was with the girl, the side chick. I saw them from a distance. I felt the pinch in my chest. I was a bit hyperventilating as I further trying to understand why I was hyperventilating. Was it anxiety? But it was a mix of anxiety, but at the same time, I'm okay. Really, I'm okay. It was just because it's been a long, long time since we spoke with each other and saw each other. He looked different. I don't want to trash talk, but he looked so different. He was also like going through a heartbreak. He was losing weight, but didn't look good. You know, he's losing weight in a way that it didn't look good. I felt that it was a good thing. Like, karma's on you, but I was really operating from that. But I thought, I'm okay. But part of me, see the language, was saying that, oh, he didn't really look good. Karma's on you, I guess. So I realized, oh, there's still that little hate, that little resentment is still there. I still have to work on that. And then eventually I came to that point wherein, you know what? I forgive you. Because I've also realized at that stage my part for everything that happened. You know, when I said earlier on that I was also toxic, we were both toxic in that toxic relationship as a whole. We were part of our own suffering. It was at a stage already there wherein the resentment, the anger is slowly disappearing. You're in that stage of acceptance where you see the situation as it is without the influence of your emotions and your ego. I forgive you. It doesn't make a good excuse though for you to cheat on me. Yes, that's what happened also. Yeah, I forgive you even if you didn't say sorry. That's another thing. It was necessary for me also to forgive even if I didn't hear an apology. I am forgiving for my own sake, for my peace sake, because if I do not forgive, if I don't let that go, I will be stuck with it for the rest of my life. And I will not be able to open myself to better opportunities, to better relationships, if I allow myself to keep that resentment, that very negative energy in me. So I had to let it go. And for me to be free from that is to forgiving myself for what I only knew back then, for how I operated. At least now we know better. We're ready to welcome the better version of Chennie. The story further about the cheating, I'm not gonna discuss that. I'm just sharing what went through, what happened, and like I said, the wisdom and insights I got from it. Let's not focus on that. So after that, I went through the self-discovery journey, had to learn to love my own company, which is very important. I was so scared to be alone and I couldn't depend on myself. Those were the things that I needed to learn in a span of 3-4 years. The book Aloneness by Osho, if I said the full title right, I've learned there is power in aloneness, and I never really saw it from that perspective until I read the book and experienced it myself and appreciated it through the experience that I had with myself. That there is truly solitude in aloneness, there is truly power in aloneness, and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. The small moments that I really see as milestones during that period were going to cafes alone. I could do that. Oh, I can actually do it. Eating alone, going to places alone, going home alone, I can manage. And in turn, I became hyper independent, which is another trauma response. But but at least right now I can see the difference. This is hyper independence. This is a trauma response, or this is me enjoying my solitude of, my aloneness. That's the thing about healing, too. Like, your self awareness becomes even deeper, it goes way, way deeper. And because of that, you tend to overanalyze stuff. The healing journey is not linear and it takes a long, long time. But like I said, we all have different timelines and different capacities. But for me, I had to rebuild myself, get to know myself, and finding my why again, my purpose again. And this is where I learned a valuable lesson on self love, and that it's not just, the material things. It's not just about the physical pillar, but also other pillars of yourself that you need to take care of, or that you need to love: mind, body, heart, and soul. Most importantly, you build and find a home within yourself. Build a foundation of home within yourself, and do not attach that idea of home, the Do not attach your identity to any external sources, to people, to things, to places. I know this is easier said than done. I know someone mentioned that that's hard. But then I thought to myself, oh, right, it's a process. You really have to think it that way. That if you attach yourself to a person, to a place, to a thing, if they disappear, if these things disappear, who are you? And that's what happened to me. I learned it the hard way. And the experience was validated, the emotions, the feelings were validated through the book Welcome Home by Najwa Zebian. I am so grateful for your words, Najwa. I felt like I went through a therapy session with that book. We're really ever evolving. There's no limit to what we're learning, and that includes what we learn with ourselves. So yeah, fast forward, here we are. Chennie is the empowered woman that she is now. Very focused on who she's becoming rather than who she was back then, and the pain that she had to go through and what happened back then. She's more focused on who she's becoming. Traces of the past will really resurface if you continue experiencing things. What you do after you encounter a trigger matters. Also, engaging where you are in your journey. You go through a process, right? But what do you do after you face the trigger? Do you allow it to control you? Or do you process it, acknowledge it, label it, and really understand yourself, why it resurfaced? What is it teaching you? I think that also comes from healing, where your perspectives change, your mindset changes. I'll just end this episode with a message to myself. Dear Chennie, I'm so proud of you. You've come a really long way. That journey was excruciating, and look at you. You're blooming, you're glowing. The work that you've put on internally, it's all radiating outside. Just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And I want you to know that I'm also proud of you for bravely, courageously opening yourself up to the world, to people, to places that sometimes don't feel comfortable, sometimes feel like scary or strange or new to you. But you bravely experience those things, you bravely go through the encounters. I'm proud of you for not letting your triggers get the best of you. I'm proud of you for going through that healing journey. I'm proud of you for being kind and soft still, even after, in spite everything you went through. I want you to know that you are worthy. You're worthy of the love that you give to yourself. You're worthy of the standard of love that you want for yourself. It's only valid that you want that because you worked so hard to get to where you are now. And you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve all good things. I love you. This episode is so intense, no? Some people will tell me straight to my face, you haven't healed because, you still cry or still feel these things. But mind you guys, if you are in that journey and you still feel these emotions, it doesn't mean you don't have progress, okay? Don't feel bad. Bravehearts, thank you so much for listening to this episode, for holding space for me, and I hope that you have gained valuable insights or lessons from the story and the wisdom that I've shared. Do follow the Self Love Club podcast on Instagram. That's at the Self Love Club _podcast, and follow me in all of my social media accounts. That's at Chennie Montero and Chennie TV on YouTube. Thank you, Bravehearts. I will see you on the next episode. Bye!